Good evening and welcome to Collectables. My name is Liam, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the following. We'll start this review by taking a look at the box. So as you can see, it's a pretty big box, and it's quite heavy as well. It's quite heavy now, and it's actually empty, but never mind that. So essentially, if you buy it from the Lego store or potentially like Amazon, this is what it comes in, a kind of protective layer on the actual packaging itself. So that's the main purpose of that. Nothing really too much to this box. It's just literally the label on the front, which has just got the set number, which is set number 10294, and it just says Titanic V29. Not quite sure what the V29 means, but that's all it says. And there's nothing more to this, so we'll just get this box open. We'll take a look at the actual box. So now that we've unboxed essentially, we can take a look closer at the actual packaging, which looks absolutely stunning. And when this set first released near me, it was quite hard to get. It was always out of stock, and when they did have them in stock, it was usually a very few number that you had to reserve. When I finally got my hands on this one from the Lego store, it was available, so it was just on the shelf. And at the time of picking it up, it had already disappeared from the shop window. But prior to that, about 6 months before, about 6 months after it released, it was in the shop window on display, so you can actually see what it looks like, which looks stunning. Really kind of brings you in essentially. And for anybody who's not really into Lego, I am, by the way, I'm big into Lego, but for anyone who's not really into Lego, just seeing that, it's like, wow, look at the size of that, and the amount of detail on the model. So anyway, dive into the box. So along the bottom, we've got some details essentially, which you've got 18 plus, which years and ages don't really matter in Lego anymore, because it's for everybody, it doesn't matter what age you are. It's got, next one we got is the set number, which is 10294. It's got the piece count, which is 9,090 pieces. And that's about it for this box. It's got the Lego logo, the actual ship itself. And in the top right corner, we've got the dimensions of the ship, which is 135 centimeters, which is front to back. And the height, essentially to the top of the flags, which is 44 centimeters. Now, obviously, if you don't decide to put the flags on, or, well, just the flags, I don't think, yeah, the rear end does include the flags, so if you take the flags off, obviously be a few centimeters short. If you are thinking about putting this on a shelf, the stands that sit below the ship, as you'll see it shortly, are a little shorter than the ship, so you can have a shorter shelf, but you can also move the stands around a bit and position it how you like. It is quite heavy, but as long as you've got a good shelf, you'll be fine. Take a look at the side of the box. So on this side, not really a lot going on, just the side, a good quarter kind of view of the ship there, and you've got the Titanic logo, which is printed, spoiler alert, which is really good to see. Take a look at the back. You essentially can see, the amount of detail that's gone into this, which is incredible. You've got the Titanic nameplate there, which has got a nice addition. It kind of shows off the flags that are attached, the kind of detail of all the lifeboats, which you'll see shortly. And then you've got the different views, essentially what the ship can do, which you've got the engines, the detail on the front of the ship, when you see the actual wreck on, images on Google, etc. You've got the interior of all the kind of different decks and the grand staircase. And a closer look at the bridge and the kind of funnels, and just some visual shots, and also how it breaks down, which is pretty cool. So not only they made a model, but they've made it functional and give you a bit more to it essentially. On this side, again, you've just got another quarter shot, but for the rear this time. On the top of the box, it's just the end of the ship, and on the back, just nothing really interesting to talk about there. So in terms of the so we've done the outer box, which is the cardboard one. We've done the inner box, which is also cardboard. And now it goes a step further, because above that, you have even more boxes. So you've got not one, but two, but three. So, oh dear, hang on. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. Essentially, you've got 3 boxes, which, as you can see, you've got the 3 sections of the ship. You've got the rear of the ship, you've got the center, and you've got the front. And essentially, you could build it like that, or you essentially could build it, you know, in your own way. So when I built the ship, I decided to completely change the game and make it as difficult for myself as possible. So instead of building section by section, as in the front, the center, and the rear, like it wants you to, I tried to build it as best as I could from the keel up, essentially, basically by taking bag 1 of each box and then kind of doing it that way, which meant I had to get each box out each time I wanted to build it, because I didn't build it in one sitting. I built it over multiple times, multiple sittings essentially, and eventually I built it. That did lead to obstacles because it wasn't a straightforward process, because I managed to break the set multiple times, because it's not in its strongest point when it's kind of, you know, it's essentially just that thin on the, you know, on the display stand, and when you pick it up thinking that bit's connected, it isn't. Yeah, it didn't go very well. So yeah, probably wouldn't recommend that, but it was quite cool to do. So yeah, don't regret doing it like that. It was pretty cool. Yeah, not much to say about these boxes. Each box has, so essentially we'll take a look at this one. It's got a kind of image of the center of the ship, kind of a 3D, like a sort of blueprint sort of design. And it's kind of got, similar to what the actual original, you know, the exterior box has, but kind of just kind of a see-through cutaway view, essentially. And you've got a little icon in the top corner which kind of shows you which part of the ship you're building, and this is box number 2 in this example. And you've just got different versions of the different views of the ship all around, and then you've just got Titanic on the front of the box itself. So that's about it for all the boxes. So that's that one. You've got the front of the ship, again, same story, so straight look at that front of the ship, which is the best view, obviously, you see in the 1997 Titanic film, if you haven't seen that. I imagine you have seen that if you're watching this video, but if you haven't, recommend watching it. Pretty good. Then you got a side view there, essentially, and a cutaway view of what the back of this section looks like, and again, another side, and it shows you that you're building the front, and it's box number 1. Sorry about the squeaky noise. And then you've got the final box, which is again the cutaway. This is the rear section, box number 3. There's the rear of the ship, and another cutaway view. And yeah, that's about it to the box. So, and that's it. Bash the instructions on the side, and you've got books, and you get a book for each one. So essentially, you know, it's got, obviously, as you expect from instructions, I'm not going to go through every single page. I chose to build it using my iPad, just because I preferred that method of just swiping through it on my iPad screen. But you can build it however you like. This is the bag I've got out. The other 2 are still sealed up. Yeah, that's just how I chose to build it. You build it however you prefer, but because the reason for using my iPad is the fact that because I was building it from the keel up, essentially, and not following complete one book, move to the next book, and then etc. That's why the iPad made more sense, because I could just tap between the 3 instruction books, because there's 3 instruction books you get with this, essentially, because it's 3 sections. And this book in particular has, how many pages? It has 250, oh, it's there all along, 258 pages. So it was easy just to tap away on an iPad, because it remembers where you were as well. Again, because I wasn't doing it in one sitting, so it made more sense. But yeah, that's about it for the book. So boxes aside, instructions aside, let's take a look at the actual Titanic. And here it is. So as you can see, it's quite a big model. We'll take a look at some of the detail, and we'll kind of work our way through the ship and talk about all the features that this ship has. Now, it took me a few times to position this in the camera shot because it's quite a model to fit in the camera lens, and it is quite a heavy model. It is quite sturdy, as long as you don't drop it, like anything in Lego. Well, like anything in general, really. But if we take a look at the detail, so working away kind of front to rear. So, you know, if you take a look at the detail on the ship, the amount of detail on this ship is amazing, and the designer really does need credit because it's an absolutely fantastic model of the ship. So you've got the actual crane at the front here. I do apologise if I get some of the names wrong, and some of the technical terms. You got the mast essentially on the crow's nest where they first spotted the Titanic. No, they didn't. When they first spotted the iceberg, clearly not in time enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this Lego set, probably not. But there we are. We've also got some loading cranes as well, which are all fully adjustable. And working our way back, we've got the bridge section, and we've got the funnels with lifeboat details on the side, and the kind of glass kind of roof for the grand staircase. Working our way further back, you can also see these ropes as details essentially. There is another one which you'll see on the box art and everything like that, which goes from the mast to the rear. I've chosen not to put mine on, just prefer the look a bit like that. It's personal preference. It literally is just clips on the front and clips on the back. It's very simple to remove. Likewise with the flags, you'll notice I've not put the flags on, just chosen not to. Nothing against the flags, just didn't feel like putting them on. They're all in the box and everything. Moving further back, you got like a little lookout position here essentially. Again, another glass staircase essentially, another glass viewing, another funnel. Working our way back, we've got more cranes essentially. Working our way all the way back to the back, you've got this kind of a little adjuster, which is quite cool, which essentially just tensions up the rope, the string essentially between them. When you've got it hanging down, it would kind of adjust. And then you've got the kind of lookout platform, and you've got the mast where you might put the flag on. I probably will put that flag on, to be fair. It's the only one I probably will put on. Not really a fan of the one up here. You've got more cranes here as well. Take a look down the side of the ship, which I probably should have started with. We've got an actual printed Titanic piece at the front, which is quite good. We've also got a anchor, which is quite cool. A really good contrast. Obviously it's sitting on the stand right now. You don't have to keep it on the stand. It's not attached to it, it's just a little kind of Technic piece. I think it's the correct word for it. But all stands do lift off. So it's just harder to pick up essentially, because it is, you put your hands under it to lift it up essentially. If I just position it so you can see a kind of a closer look essentially. So take a look at the front of the ship essentially. Looking straight down, you'll see it's amazing the amount of detail in this, and it's quite heavy. Like I said, it is quite strong. I'm not going to throw it just to test that. And essentially just looking at the rear of the ship essentially, you'll see that you've got some fantastic detail of propellers. I'll show you another feature of that in a bit later. But it's just an incredible model, and whether you're into Lego or not, well, if you know how to build Lego, that is, it's a fantastic piece to have in your living room or wherever. It's a really good talking point. It's also an expensive talking point, but it is one that I think one of the best Lego sets of all time, in my personal opinion. As of this video, it is still currently available. You can still go out to lego.com and buy it. You can still go to any website and buy it. It's not due to retire just yet. It's been out a few years now, but you can still get hold of it quite freely where I am in the UK. So I do recommend picking it up. I do think that once the set retires, it will go up heavily in price. So probably worth, if you're interested, picking up before it retires, whenever that is. So we'll take a look at the kind of next parts essentially, which is essentially where you can split the model up and take a look inside the detail. So to split the ship up into, well, 3 sections essentially, it's got these kind of Titanic pins, which I'll show you. So because it splits into 3 sections, there's 2. One is, I always get this wrong, one is here, they're hidden away in a little deck, so they basically just slide out like that, and they're just quite a simple design. So I'll put them to one side for now. And there is another one just here. Here. Again, exactly the same. Put that to one side for now. And what that allows essentially is the ship to split into 3. So we've got the front section, you've got the center section, and you've got the stern itself, which you can see the details of the engines, which we'll take a closer look at in a second. So take a look at the kind of front detail, essentially looking straight down the camera there. You kind of got the stern section, no you haven't, you've got the bow section, kind of looking straight away that scene in Titanic film, 1997, which comes out of the darkness under the water. Not quite as shiny as this like, but yeah. And then you've got the big part essentially of this, of why you split it up essentially. And you've got lots of decks, so it goes through different kind of rooms within the Titanic. You can see like different pieces that have been used to create like little seats and different tables, and little gold pieces which represent like the grand staircase, which goes all the way down to the bottom. You've got different rooms which represents beds and different bedrooms, things like that. And then down below you like the boiler room sort of engine sort of area. So that's pretty cool. That's the front section. Take a look at the center. So straight away you're leading straight on from that, opposite that piece. Again, continuing the theme, pretty much a replica of that. Also got a little bit of kind of translucent pieces here which are to simulate swimming pools. And again, further engine kind of cold storage sort of spaces. And you can see the Technic pins which join the 2 ships together, as in join the 2 sections together. And that Technic pin we mentioned earlier essentially goes right down the middle of this to keep them together, and they both interlock, which makes it quite strong. And finally, oh that was brave, holding it in one hand. So I wanted to point this out as well. On the rear of the ship you've got the propellers, which do turn, but you can also, if you get the engine, because these pistons turn, you can also put the engine back where it was, and it actually turns the propeller, which I thought was pretty cool. There isn't quite much room for a motor, I'm sure you could probably make some room. So I thought it was pretty cool. You do get 2 engines with it, which I'll just put there for display, and then, hang on, you've also got this side, which you've got quite a big space here, essentially, which houses, that's essentially where the engines go when they're in the back of the ship. And you've got more detail, again, different kind of mechanisms used, like these little doors, essentially, which represent different walls within the ship, and some deck area. So that's pretty cool. And then on this piece, again, similar theme. Again, different pieces used to connect the ships up. Same Technic pin that runs down the center to connect the 2. And as I mentioned, the engines, they slot in there. And essentially, we're turning that. You can turn the propellers, which I thought was quite cool. You don't have to put them in. You wanted to keep them on display separately, you absolutely could do that. And then to go ahead and put the ship back together, simply align them. So just delicately, like that. And then we get one of our joining pieces, they're both the same. And then just position it. And that's now secure. Careful not to bash it on the cupboard there. And then same with the front, just realign it. Again, taking our other piece, and as easy as that. And there's your Titanic. I'm not going to tilt it too much, but you can see the stands. I'm not going to take them off in this video, but tell you what, no, I will. Well, just to show you, you can take them off. So if I just take one off the center, just to show you what they look like. So they just pop off, and essentially they're just quite simple. Just sit flat on the ground, and they just secure into the Titanic. So like I said, you don't have to use them. You can keep it flat on the bottom of the ship. It's just harder to pick up if you do want to move it around, but depends on what your scenario is. Yeah, I'll put that back on. I'll demonstrate how easy or not easy it is to put that back on. Now I've just took it off. So under the ship there's like different technic pins where the ship aligns, and because I can't see it, hang on. There you go. Easy. That's about it for the Titanic. There's not really much more to show you. All I can say is it's an incredible model. Highly recommend picking it up. But also, I did mention earlier, is you've got a Titanic name piece, which these are all printed pieces, and there's not a single sticker in this set, which is good to hear. And these lifeboats are detachable, so if you did want to position them or do some things, you could do. You could even get, if you wanted to, you could get some smaller bits of string and essentially hang them below the, hang them below where the lifeboats come out. There's loads of possibilities to kind of make this look good. One thing I've kind of done on my shelf in the past, I put it on display with the kind of stern into the air, with the front kind of slightly tilted down, just resting on the stand. I may put the lifeboats to the side. Thought that looked pretty cool. In case you're wondering, because I know you asked, can you connect the front and the rear to each other without the center? Yes, you can. So, if you want to, I'll just put that there. There's too many Titanics in the way. So what you can do, which I wouldn't recommend you do, because it's nothing to do with this anymore, is you can get these two. These engines just pop out. And essentially they've got like a little detail where the pistons turn, which we'll take a closer look at in a second. And essentially, if you wanted to, not sure why you would, but you could connect them two together to make a smaller ship, which is no longer relevant to the Titanic. But it's quite cool. I thought it was quite neat. I'll just move that out of the way so you can see a bit clearer. Let's move that. There we go. So, if you wanted to make a mini ship, maybe you buy two of these if you've got loads of money and you want a little ship to go with it, maybe. I don't know what the scenario is, but I just thought it was quite cool. And you can, that pin that connects them both will also work to keep them there. So, there we are, there's that. So that's about it for this episode. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you've enjoyed looking at this Lego Titanic, which is a fantastic set. One of the best Lego sets that has been produced, in my personal opinion, so far. So, if you did like the video, make sure you like. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, because we've got plenty more exciting content coming up from HasLab, Bandai, Traxxas, plenty of other stuff coming up. So lots of exciting stuff to keep an eye out for. Check out our socials, they're all linked below. And yeah, in the meantime, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. See ya.